Welcome to another episode of Coach Hayes Football. I know I look a little different. I'm actually about to go ahead and get a little honey in right quick for a couple of coyotes and some wild boar. But this episode is dedicated to the recruiting one-on-one process from a player's perspective, from a parent's perspective, and from a coach's perspective. If you're interested in learning about this and all of the great information that me and my buddy AG Waseem from Top Recruits Now Foundation is going to provide, it's going to be an awesome session. It's about an hour long, but trust me, it's packed full of great details and great information about the recruiting process for high school football players. Stay tuned.
Yo, what's up? Welcome. Y'all chilling with us on Football Chapter, FLXX Sports. I'm sitting here with Coach Hayes. Coach, we going to give him time to get on. We just wanted to make sure that everybody could hear us and stuff. We just can chop it up like how we normally do. What's up with you, man?
Man, I'm chilling, man. Like I said, we just going to wait a little bit and get some people in, see if we can get some people some good information about this whole recruiting process and, how it is and how hectic it is. And, it's not easy, man,
Yeah, man, it ain't easy, man. It ain't easy being greasy, but, we going to make sure, with signing day and all that kind of stuff. You had some kids to sign today. I know you're pretty excited about that. You've been through the process a lot. So, how was it this year, compared to the last few years?
I mean, again, the recruiting process is what it is, man. You talk with these coaches, you get a feel for them, the kids, the kids indecisive. Because, again, to be honest with you, one of the biggest things about this recruiting process is I've always told these kids, this is the first biggest decision you've ever made in your life. To be honest with you didn't even get a chance to pick your own name.
Hey, man, hold that off, man. We ain't starting yet, man. You giving away too much of the sauce, man. Come on.
Well, I'm just letting them know. Hey, dog,
Don't
listen.
give it to him just yet, man. We got a whole hour. We got to pack.
I'm like, Kale, hey, listen. I got enough. Hey, I got a bottomless supply of this stuff, boy. Yeah. I can go on. I can go on and on like special ed, baby. You know what I'm saying? But it is though. Yeah. But it is. To be honest with you, man. It just was a lot. You got trying to get kids in, man, and help them make decisions without making a decision for them. So,
Man, I'm telling you, man, you got to hold on. We're going to talk about something else, man. All right, man, who's your favorite hoop team out there? We're going to talk about hoops for a second.
My favorite what?
Favorite NBA hoop team. Who do you favorite?
Man, listen, I'm Miami all the way down. I can't put my little sign up like I want. Man, I'm doing it, man. Let's go, man, right here.
You could help
305.
305.
Listen, I'm Miami Heat, Miami Dolphins. We used to have an indoor arena team called the Miami Hooters. I'm all for them, too. So whatever it is, if it's from the crib, I'm about it.
Well, hey, man, we're going to get a lot of viewers, a lot of viewer participation the more we do this kind of stuff. There's my boy Alan Thomas, he's one of the co-founders of FLXX Sports. He's going to be doing the videos. At the end, I'll tell people a little something about what we're going to be doing. But, I'm AG Waseem, for those who don't know. I'm from San Antonio, Texas. Been doing the U.S. Army thing, but living here in Florida. I'm like Coach Hayes. I'm, 210, anything with Texas, it's what it is. I'm down with the Spurs, the Cowboys, University of Texas, San Antonio Roosevelt. That's where I went. So, I feel you. I'm Jeff Davis High School, Jeff Davis Middle School. I'm down with that, Bowden Elementary. Anything dealing with San Antonio, anything dealing with Texas, I'm all the way in. All right. But, hey, man, we finna chop it up, man. It's about that time. We're going to talk a little bit. Welcome once again to FLXX Sports Recruiting 101. Congratulations to all the parents and the children and the coaches who had an opportunity to get the kids they want this year. People don't realize how big that really is, So, it's a really big day. I hope that these kids, really take advantage of what, the opportunity has been given to them. So we're going to start up right now. Alan, that was just filler time, man. Don't be trying to come in and make suggestions. Just sit over there and enjoy the show, because you really should be the one recording. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and start on up, man. Let's get this thing started. All right, we're going to talk a little bit. About recruiting from a coach's perspective. For those people who don't know, you have been on the college level. Explain to these people a little bit from not only the college level coaching as well as the high school coaching as far as, recruiting 101.
I mean, the very first thing, recruiting, the very first thing when they come through the door is they probably have already seen your film. If they come to your school, especially with the recruiting services out there, that kind of get your names out there, especially with Huddle now. It's not like it was back in the day, shipping off tapes and stuff. So they kind of got an idea about you going to play. So the very first thing is they always say is your academics. That's that's the first box that needs to be checked is, can he qualify to be a student at our institution? So, that's the very first thing coaches look for. Second is character, the kind of person you are, because, that logo never leaves the side of your head, man. Once you put it on, it's on your helmet, but you still got to represent that university. And we see it all the time in the news. Something happens in the news, first thing they say is such and such university player did X, Y, and Z. So they want to make sure that you're a high character person, and then again, athletic ability is last because they probably there already because they know you can play ball. So they just going to get them final tips on what you can do athletically.
You've been in the college coaches' rooms and you've seen kids get taken off the board for things that they've done, whether it be, stealing, not doing what they're supposed to be doing in the classroom. Can you explain to some people how that transpires? Like, because I know how it goes, but you can explain it probably a little better.
Well, for whoever's watching this or whoever's going to watch this in the future, whether it be a parent or even a player, man, the biggest culprit right now is social media. Everything is being filmed. Everything is being filmed. Everything, there's a photo or video behind everything that you do. And, these universities now are investing in that research by hiring people just to watch social media. So a lot of guys lose their opportunity because of something they've done on social media. Whether it be posting a picture with alcohol or guns or drugs or, they out doing something and catch a case. Again, like I just said earlier, you got to represent that institution. So whatever college that may be or university that is, these guys are looking for high character people. And so what you may think is funny today is not funny tomorrow, because again, tweets never go away.
Man, I'm glad, you brought that up, man. We a kid, you might know, but I know very well, at Olympia, his girlfriend put some stuff on social media that's going to affect him. And, he's a kid from the crib and, she put some stuff on there that's definitely going to affect him. I see kids all the time, using profanity, using racial and gay slurs. And I've seen coaches take kids off the board. So, we definitely need to make sure that people understand coaches do stuff like have a pretty girl to follow you on Twitter.
Right.
Have a pretty girl to follow you on Facebook so that they can, know what you're saying, know what you're doing. They're not going to be, like a lot of these kids think that, what's that one, Snapchat?
That stuff go away in 24 hours or whatever.
Right.
Nah.
And they don't even realize that, the coach can set up one of, the little girls on the team to, to set you up. And, because as well as I do, one of the first things they do is make sure that they get cute little girls to come in and work the department so that, not only can they recruit kids, but they can also stay in touch with the boys and see what they're doing. So
yeah, I mean, a lot of schools plant moles, man, because again, you're not going to accept a friend request from, or, for example, you got a friend request from your father, for example. You may not do the same things you would do when you think they're not looking.
Right.
So again, they plant those moles. It may be a young lady. Guess what? It may even just be another player on the team, that know that you're being recruited at that university. Nothing wrong with just having a Facebook friend or Instagram friend. And then again, that's a way to get in to monitor your social media activity. So again, guys, for you fellas, you got to be careful. I don't know another way to say it, and it's numerous examples out there. So I mean, we could beat this dead horse until it come back alive. But I mean, all you gotta do is Google social media athletes, and I mean, tons of that stuff will come up.
Now we're gonna talk a little bit about recruiting from the coach's perspective. Like a lot of these kids, think that they have offers from certain schools. Me and you this weekend, we were in the car with a high recruit that thought he had offers at certain schools, and in the midst of that trip, he realized he didn't have offers.
Sure.
Can you explain to these kids how the offer really works, and explain to them that these schools only have a certain amount of slots to fill up those offers. So therefore, even though you got an offer in the school, explain to them how they might have offered 100 kids, and the first kid to come through that they like, that's the one that really gets the offer.
I mean, true story. Like I said, I mean, most schools have 25 slots, but those 25 slots don't mean that they always need 7, 8 receivers. You may have some coaches or some staffs that, went heavy on offensive line and they're losing one senior, so they're trying to pick up one. So out of those 25 slots, all these positions in football are being juggled, And so with that being said, they have to throw out because you're playing the odds, And when you're playing the odds, I got 25 slots. If I offer about 100 kids, there's 120, 7 D1 schools out there now, right. And they're probably, especially if in their region, offering them as well. So you got to play the odds that, they're going to come to me or go to them. So I understand them kind of over-offering kids, in the sense because you're playing the odds that, student A may go to that university, and so I have to fill up a slot for student B. But really to answer your question is, you have to understand what that relationship is with that recruiter and how that relationship goes, when you're talking to that person.
So what advice would you give? Because, we're going to get into recruiting 101 from a player perspective, recruiting 101 for a parent. So I don't want to go that far into it. But what advice would you give these kids when they're getting recruited by college coaches? What questions should they ask, that can let them know if this recruiter is serious about them?
Right.
And basically, and how do they not fall for the banana in the tailpipe?
Well, I mean, again, you have to ask your standard questions about the university. You want to ask your standard questions about majors. You want to ask your standard questions, about, what does the school offer, all of that kind of stuff. But what you really want to get into when you start talking about recruiting is what you want to get into is more of, depth charts. Okay, coach, if you want to recruit me, what do you believe? Again, because they can't tell you for certain. But how many seniors do you have graduating at this? If I'm a linebacker, for example, how many guys do you have leaving at that position? Where do I fall on that chart? When I come in, do you have 6, 7, 8 linebackers already in that room? If you have 8, are 5 of them leaving because they're graduating or because they're transferring, whatever the case may be? So those are the questions you have to really nail down and hammer down with that recruiter. And also, you want to also make sure about availability. Can you come to their school whenever you choose to? Most of the coaches will say yes, but you want to just make sure that you ask them the questions that pertain more to you than instead of the general questions that probably every recruiter is going to ask. But what majors do you have? How many kids do you graduate? Those are great questions, but those don't necessarily pertain to you as a player.
Okay, one thing for certain, too, just so that some of the people who don't know you that's on here know, can you just tell them some of the kids that you've had the opportunity of going through the recruiting process as a high school coach?
All right, so I kind of work backwards. I guess it'd be easy to work backwards. We just had some kids signed here. I was over at Oak Ridge this year, so we had some kids signed. We had a defensive back signed over to Middle Tennessee. I'm trying to keep some names out of this if I can.
Yeah, that'll be perfect.
Yeah, because they underage and so forth. I don't know mom's feel, but anyhow, we had kids going on to West Florida. We had 2 kids I believe signed at Shorter, and then previously we had a kid that signed at Michigan. At quarterback, we had a receiver at Ohio, a defensive back at Tennessee State, 2 defensive backs at Tennessee State. A receiver at FIU. I mean, I can go on and on, man, but probably since I've coached 19 years, I've had well over hundreds of kids in college.
Well, I can attest to that, and what I do with the recruiting service. We're going to give a shameless plug, TEI Scouting Service. Mike Tunzel, I see that Alan tried to tag him to check it out. That's our recruiting service. So, we've been dealing with college coaches for a minute. So, hey, man, we done chopped it up a little bit about, how to do it from the coach's perspective. Now, what I want to make sure that we do is let's see if we can get these parents and people to how to do it from a player's perspective. Because, from a player's perspective, we talked a little bit about it, but these kids nowadays are getting to the point where they don't appreciate just a good old scholarship. And before we go back into it, we had a couple of questions. Antoine Jackson want to know what school you coaching at, Coach Hayes.
Well, I'm currently right now at Oak Ridge, man. So I just said I'm currently at Oak Ridge doing the defense over there at Oak Ridge High School here in Orlando.
All right. And then you got Tay Lewis. He posed a good question. We can tackle it now, actually. Okay. He said, do you guys believe that there's an age limit on recruitment?
My personal opinion, yes. I believe that, we talked about this in the car for 4 hours on this 4-hour ride, but, I really don't believe you should offer kids. I hear these 8th grade offers and all that stuff. I mean, it sounds great. It's a good sound bite. It's good for social media. It's good for all that. But at the end of the day, what does it do to the kid? And then what does it do for the credibility of the university? Are you still going to be there when that kid is 4 years from now when he's a senior? And we know how much coaching flipping around, turning around is. Hell, the coach that offered you today, will he be there tomorrow? So, again, you get kids' hopes up, in essence, for what? So, yeah, to answer his question, I do believe there should be an age limit, or at least within that grade.
Yeah, to answer this question, I personally, I don't, all the offers to me are kind of fool's gold because you can't commit, so, because I've seen plenty of kids that have had, I saw a kid that his sophomore year in Central Florida was supposedly the number one sophomore in the area, had 40 offers. And his senior year, he barely, could get to college. So,
right.
We all know that the real offer is not till you get what you get in writing. I've had kids that had 30 offers, but really September 1st of the senior year lets you know what you really got. You know that when them letters come in, that lets you know what you really got. And coaches, because the reality is a coach may offer you 8th, 9th grade, but now all of a sudden, like you said, they decide, okay, we're not going to get a wide receiver this class. We're going to go heavy on linebackers. So that offer doesn't mean anything. It's kind of it's good for the kid because you know how coaches are. What coach is going to say, this kid here is a baller? Like this kid is everyone don't want to be late to the party. They don't want to be that guy. So they gonna make sure they do their due diligence on all these kids. So so that's really important. So to answer this question, I think is fool's go. I think the offers they're not committable. So I wish that they would find some kind of way to make this thing a little bit more committable. If like you said in the car, hey, you got 30 days to commit. After them 30 days, this offer really is non-standing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's getting to the point, they offer kids in the 8th grade, and in the 8th grade, you don't even know what that kid's body type is like. You don't know what his speed's going to be like. And there are some kids that like, Big Jalen, at Apaka. Jalen in 8th grade was 6'4", 250. Could dunk a basketball. Yeah,
right.
It don't take no rocket scientist to know that he's going to be a problem. Now he's 6'4", 285, dunking a basketball.
Right,
so,
right.
But for the most part, very few 8th graders, you just know.
Yeah, no, and to answer your question, like you said, the coaches don't want to be late to the party, but what happens if we open the door at a certain time? So guess what? The door just ain't always open. Right. If you open the door at the same time, guess what? Can't nobody be late to the party. And that's just kind of how we got to look at it, because it becomes twofold. You offer this kid early, then here you go with the parents. Well, my kid got an offer from X, Y. You know how that goes, and that might be a whole nother segment of tonight's show. But it's just I just think it creates a lot of confusion, unnecessary confusion on the back end after you just drop that little seed in there, and you go back to your university, and then now we stuck, trying to figure it all out.
Before I forget, man, I've got to go a few more questions before we get into recruiting 101 from a player's perspective.
Okay.
Balin, Mr. Quarterback Guru himself, Mr. Cool Daddy, got all the little white women going crazy over him. He asked, is there an importance of 7-on-7 when it comes to recruiting and staying active in the field in the off season? That's what I think he's trying to. And then we have Kyle Smith, who asks, if you have a kid that is showing really big upside, what's a good age to start taking them to college camps? All right, and if you want to attack Balin first, let's go with that. Is there an importance of 7-on-7 when it comes to I'm trying to get to read. And hold on, man, I can't pull this thing up. There, my thing going crazy. But did you get what he said?
He says there an importance to 7-on-7.
Yeah, for off season. Man, all my comments is messing up. Hold on, let me see if I can get it. Go ahead, man. But is there an importance of 7-on-7 when it comes to recruiting and staying active in the off season? Is what he asked.
I mean, I think it is, but you know me, I'm a defensive guy now. Any movement is you can always get better. You know, here's my thing about 7-on-7, and it's debatable. As long as that kid is using that as a tool to get better, I don't have any problem with 7-on-7 whatsoever. As long as that kid is using that as a tool to sharpen his skills for the fall, man, I love 7-on-7. But a lot of kids put more emphasis on 7-on-7 than they do on padded football. And that's where the problem lies. So to answer Balin's question, no, I enjoy 7-on-7 as long as it's used for the proper purpose. You know what I mean? And so it's great to have kids move. It's great to have, them do stuff in the off season, stay in shape, keep them out the streets, keep it positive. So no, 7-on-7 is awesome as long as it's used properly.
Well, Balin, he said, is there an importance of 7 when it comes to recruiting? And so you were saying that staying active in the off season is what you look at as important.
Oh, to recruit, saying, I'm sorry.
You said to recruiting and staying active. So you answered the second part, but the first part, how do you feel about when it comes to recruiting?
It does. I mean, I think 7-on-7 is kind of like a preview to what that kid can do. Because at the end of the day, I'm gonna be very honest with you. When I was over at FIU, I had opportunity to be in those film sessions. We never put a 7-on-7 tape on when we recruited. But 7-on-7 does give a kid an opportunity to be seen by college coaches to spark their interest. So again, it's the tool.
How would you say that? How does 7-on-7 allow a kid to be seen by recruiting when you just said that y'all never looked at any?
Because they have. Because okay, let me rephrase. Well, no, I have to rephrase it.
Like, you want me to?
No, I have to rephrase it. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Because when they go around to these camps in the summer to the different colleges to perform, it's like a trailer to what that kid can actually do. But when they go to evaluate this student or this athlete to say, can he play 11 tackle on football? Because again, sometimes it is a mentality difference.
Right.
They're going to go to the tape of the 7-on-7. I mean, of the 11-on-11 full padded. Again, I'm not saying kids have not received scholarships because of 7-on-7. Not saying that at all. But I think it opens a window for colleges to see a kid that may not have been seen or not have crossed their board through, recruiting.
All right, well, let me answer that, because, I'm very active in 7-on-7.
Sure.
And I tell any kid, I am one of the few people that I know. Like you said, there's not a college coach alive that looks at 7-on-7 film. I know that for a fact. So how does 7-on-7 help you with recruitment? It helps you only if you are with someone who really is influential with college coaches. So, if you're just like your boy Dennis Marwan down there in
Dennis,
Dennis your guys Pro Impact. Like if you're on 7-on-7, you need to be on a team that is truly an all-star team where coaches are like, hey, this guy has all these guys, I need to talk to them. And then that's really how you get influence, and that's how they say, hey, what about this kid? Like, I won't name a name, but I got a kid that's blowing up. He played 7-on-7 for us last year. He contacted me, and because I watched him in 7-on-7, he had a pretty good, like you say, he had good high school film. I was able to tell him, hey, man, this kid can do this, X, Y, Z. His film might not have showed that because, it's 11-on-11. So you playing corner, people ain't really attacking you. They can't really see your fluidness all over the place. I'm
Correct.
like, man, this kid is very fluid. Next thing you know, he gets off from North Carolina. They offer him, and then, now he got Alabama, Florida State, Miami. That kind of stuff happens. So
right.
What I tell kids all the time, a lot of people are just thinking that they just need to play 7-on-7. 7-on-7 to me is great to build your tool set. But if you're really doing 7-on-7 because you think that you're getting all these recruiting offers, no coach is watching it. If you're 7-on-7 coaches, no other college coaches, that's how 7-on-7 impacts you. If you're just playing with daddy 7-on-7, you probably ain't going to get recruited.
Definitely.
And that leads up to our next gentleman who talked about Kyle Smith. if you have a kid that's showing a real big upside, when's a good age to start taking them to camps, college camps. I believe that anytime you go to a college camp, you should go. Everyone can't afford them, but when you can go, you need to go. Like, I don't think you should pay like the $350 for the overnight camp or whatever. But any of those one-day camps, I believe you should go because you learn so much. Just the knowledge you get being coached by somebody who's on that college level, you learn so much. And I wish that more kids would take full advantage of it. Shameless plug: we have the Top Recruits Now bus tour. You can go to www.toprecruits.com and toprecruitsnow.com if you want more information. We've been doing it for 8 years now, but I'm a big proponent of getting them in front of college coaches, and especially, and I tell people all the time, if you got a kid that they really looking at the freshmen and sophomores, people really don't believe me on that. Everybody wants to wait till their kid is this finished product. And and that's kind of too late because as well as I do, by the time they get into these bigger schools, by the time your kid is a junior going to senior year, by the time they come down here for spring ball, they pretty much know who they offer. You got to have one of the greatest seasons in the world to get on. Do you see what I'm saying? You know how that goes.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to add on to that, just like you said, and to be honest with you, answered it, but I'm going to add another piece to it. If you can't afford it, okay, right, don't break the bank. But if you can afford to send your child, even if they have a junior, 6th grade camp, the reason why I like
mine has a 6, 7, 8 grade camp.
Yeah,
it's tremendous.
It's tremendous, but not even from the football standpoint. If you start getting them on those college campuses early, you start planting the seed about college, let alone forget about football, but what it is to be on a college campus. What it is to go. How many kids, like I said, have never stepped foot onto a college campus until they got ready to play football. Right. You know what I mean? So for them to walk around and see what it's like, to go to University of Florida and just see what the campus is, what it is. Because, again, how many people know about University of Florida except for Ben Griffin Hill Stadium, because they know about football. But, your kid get a chance to walk around and see the different buildings and all that. Believe it or not, you're planting the seed for him to get ready to go just to school in general.
Man, this cat Balin coming up with some excellent questions, man.
What do you got for him?
He just came with one. He said, should an incoming freshman continue to play Pop Warner, AAU, City League, or youth football if they're not on a JV or varsity when they get on campus, or should they get into the program and start off playing freshman football? I'll go first because you're a coach, so I know you got an answer on that. I'm from Texas, and where I'm from, you play 7th grade football, 8th grade football. Now, like all that AAU Pop Warner stops for you in 6th grade. And I truly believe that if Florida ever brought back middle school football, Florida would almost become dominant. I really believe that now that Pop Warner is not the dominant sport, Pop Warner is not the dominant sport, that's what held Florida back. Because if you notice, back in the day, you didn't have a lot of big men. Now you're starting to get a lot of bigger guys that are able to play. So now they're becoming, better and better. But I know there's not a high school coach alive that wants the freshman on Pop Warner, AAU, City League, and not in their program. And what the kids don't understand is, I saw a kid at Apopka when I was when my son was a sophomore. He went from the freshman team to the JV team to starting varsity in the playoffs. He wouldn't have had the opportunity if he stayed and played, Little League football. But you go ahead, Coach.
I mean, you said it. Florida, we're behind a little bit when it comes. The state itself is behind a little bit when it comes to how we format this game. We don't have middle school ball. I think there's some places, some smaller schools, especially in the private schools, I think they have some middle school ball, but it's not a statewide deal. Right. The biggest problem, too, is, and I understand it becomes a dilemma because you're saying, okay, you can use Pop Warner as maybe a developmental thing for him to get ready. Well, here's my honest opinion. I know I may rub some guys wrong, and I don't mean to, but it's just through my experiences. Once a kid enters high school, I believe he should play high school football. And I'm going to tell you my main reason is academics. The biggest problem we have in 9th grade is when he's not a part of our program, is that the whole out of sight, out of mind thing. So because he's not part of our program, he's not being monitored academically. He goes on to other program. And I know there's some great coaches out there that do a great job with that from the Pop Warner side, but there's also some coaches that don't. And so what happens when we get the ones that kind of fall off, now we spending so much time to get him into all these classes to get him ready, he may miss his 10th grade season, right? I'm going to tell you, I had a story like this before. 9th grade, a kid went to play, we call the Optimist in Miami. So he plays Optimist, right? He comes academically ineligible. 10th grade, we fight to get his grades up. He don't have enough time, academically ineligible, okay? So he goes to play Pop Warner again until he's 16. 11th grade, he ages out of Pop Warner. Now he comes into high school. He can't play because we got to get his grades up. Finally, we get him eligible his senior year. He got 10 high school games to play and talking about, well, my scholarship. Versus if he would have been in that program from 9th grade on, he would have been monitored properly, And so that's my biggest thing about when they get to high school, play high school ball, man. Play high school ball.
Hey, man, and just, even from the academic, I'm glad you brought up the academic perspective, but even if we're not talking academics, and by the way, Tay Lewis brought in that same question Balin asked, I'm glad we're tackling this subject. But even if not, the bottom line, it gives them an opportunity to go against these kids that they're going to have to see. You need to be able to measure yourself. That's what these kids everybody's always talking about, these different leagues or what have you. But when you have like the high school, it is what it is. These are the guys you're not gonna go up against. Something you're going up against. If you're at Oak Ridge, that you're going up against Dr. Phillips. You're gonna go up against Cypress Creek. These are the guys you're competing against. So it gives you an opportunity to, also like you said, you like one step away. Think about it. You could be a freshman, like I said. Kid gets hurt, kid gets suspended, something bad happens, and you playing. It's a whole bunch of like one of the kids, I say name because he's my nephew, but Cam Metcalf, he was at Dr. Phillips, freshman, was never expecting to play. And things just fell in the way where he ended up playing on varsity, at Dr. Phillips, So, you just never know how that's going to work. Had he had the opportunity to stay and play, Little League football, but like I told his dad, I'm in 1,000% agreement with you. When you go to high school, it's time to stay high school.
Right.
Like, also just think about it. If you go, when you're in the 8th grade and you go to high school, if you're playing high school ball, you get to get a head start with training like in June. Versus, like most of these little leagues don't start up to August.
Right.
But hey, man, we're going to go back, talk about this recruiting 101 from a player's perspective.
Okay, let's do it.
Like, one of the things that I see is kids turning down, like putting their nose over, offers. Like, I got an offer from, oh my God, this is an offer from Jackson State. I'm not going to Jackson State. I'm going to be big time. And even some of the times they turn their nose up at coaches, and we had this conversation in the car too. They turn their nose up to coaches and have attitudes of coaches versus the kid that we were talking about in the car. He treated all coaches with respect, and turned out the coach that actually didn't recruit him ended up being his dang coach when he went to college.
That's right. It happened all ages. That happens all the time, man. That. But again, like I said, so much turnover in coaching that the guy that's recruiting you today, and you turn your nose up at, what you consider a lesser university, may end up being your coach the next year, right? Or I got one even worse, not even the next year. It's supposed to be your breakout year.
Yeah.
And now he become your coach. So you gave him your behind the kiss, and now all of a sudden he'll become your coach. Guess who's behind you got a kiss now? So never burn bridges, as they say.
Also, the reason that's a good point, because like I tell kids, you never know when you get to a school, everything is good today on signing day. You may need a transfer. So when you need a transfer, if you show the coach your butt to kiss, he's going to show you his butt to kiss. But if you've been a good kid and all that kind of stuff, and through the process, you and your family treat them right, because what's your take on these kids? Like, I'm not going to say no names. I know a kid that's blown up now, and he's forgotten totally about the first school to offer. Like, won't even return their phone calls.
Yeah, that's bad business, man.
Very bad business. So, what's your take on things like that we can impart with these young players and their parents on that situation?
Well, for the parents and that player, from the player, I mean, I'm gonna give him a little slack because he's probably 16, 17-year-old kid.
Right.
From the parents, I'm holding you more accountable. You got to teach him how to interact with people. You understand that? That's just business. This is no different than a business decision. And this is a great way of teaching him how to handle business for now and in the future. You just, because think about if somebody handled you that way in a business aspect, you'd be ready to call corporate office, right? So it's the same deal. So from a parent's perspective, from your high school coach, parents, and if you got mentors or whatever, part of me coaching, I teach my kids how to handle those phone calls. I had a kid, like I said, that did extremely well, was highly recruited. We went to a camp, and guess what? He pouted one time. And coach, I'm tired of doing interviews. You know what I told him? Nah, baby, you want to be a rock star. So guess what? You got to sing this song like it's the first time you sang it. So you're going to answer every one of these phone calls these recruiters give you. You're going to answer it the same way as you did if it's your first one or it's your 30th one. Right. Because that's part of the process. You know what I mean? Like I said, when Beyonce go on and sing her song, she better sing it like it's the first time she ever sang it. It's probably 900 times singing it. So I said all that to simply say, we got to teach our kids how to handle business. We got to teach our kids how to make sure that they, if you're not interested in a school, just simply say that. Coach, I really appreciate that, but at this time, I'm not interested in X, Y, and Z university.
Yeah, I mean, I think the kids need to be honest, at all times. It's good for them. I just think that one of the things I see kids, everyone's excited to get their first offer.
Sure.
I mean, these kids, they post glad my first offer. And then they blow up and they actually forget about those schools. And the coach that gave you the first offer, like tomorrow, everyone signed on signing day to day. Tomorrow there's going to be so much turnaround, because a lot
tomorrow
of
phones ringing right now. AG, what you talking about?
What I'm saying, they can't announce it until after signing day.
Yeah, but you know how it goes.
It's been schools, man. Come on, man. It's been coaches all over that everybody know, like right now, that they are going to be leaving the campus. I've been knowing they leaving like in January.
That's right.
And they transferring to schools in conference. You know what I'm saying? But the reality is, we got to teach our young men, like you said, how to handle business. Because just like today, Greg Schiano, like they starting to announce it, he's now going to be the defensive coordinator of New England Patriots. I have three kids up there that are like nephews to me. Now, if they treated Coach Schiano like he was, crap when he was coaching them, now you trying to get into the league, what do you think? As a DC, now what do you think he's going to say? Also, that works in reverse. You a hard player. He saw everything that you doing, and now they got an opportunity to draft you. What do you think he's going to do? You think it's a coincidence that Bill Belichick has drafted a lot of players from like certain different places? Come on, man. You know how that goes.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, man. One player of mine, that same situation kind of happened to him. He played for this guy, right? He was a college coach. He ended up getting an NFL job, right? He gets the NFL job at the same time this kid is coming out of college. Guess what happened? Guess who would have been the perfect? Come on now, that's an easy pick, right? Well, it didn't go smoothly with him and his college coach, and so guess what happened? You didn't get picked. And I'm gonna tell you, it's funny, like I said, so much turnover in coaching. You never know who's gonna be the NFL coach to the college coach and so forth. Right. And Greg Schiano, like I said, all them guys he had at Ohio State, majority of them guys, especially looking at their defense, are going to the league. So who would you like to coach? I like to get them guys for another couple of years if I could, because they know my system, They know everything about me. So if you gave Coach Schiano your behind the kids, guess what? He's gonna give you his. So you got to keep it professional. You got to keep it business-like. And I just want to hold our parents accountable to that. They got to start teaching our kids that too.
Okay, since we talked a little bit about parents, I see you Trojan Coach Muscle. The U.S. Army shirt. This is a throwback now since we no longer are the U.S. Army. We call it All-American Bowl. But anyway, it's sponsored by NBC, but that's another story. Eric, I need my shirt so I can represent. But let's talk about these parents. One of the things that today, you see a lot of parents are excited, happy. about their kids going off to school, and I'm happy for them as well. One of the things I want to impart on the parents is the importance of grades. I mean, I'm sick and tired of kids that I know that I taught them about grades their freshman and sophomore year, because like you said, that's generally when they mess up. Because you know as well as I do, once they get their scholarship offer, all of a sudden grades become important. You know as well as I do. But but most of them ain't getting them until their junior year. So I'm just tired of kids having these grades that it's a lot of kids today that signed at certain schools because their grades were a certain way. Because it just limits their opportunity. So is there any way that we can get these? What advice you would give as a coach for parents that want to make sure that their kids' grades are up to par?
Man, listen, you know what? Like, can I be honest with you? There's no way in the world your child should be failing. With all of the kind of technology we got out here, I know here in Orlando we call it Progress Book, where you can simply log onto your phone, you can look live in action your kids' grades. When we was in school, it was all paper. You had to walk around with that doggone progress report and take it to each class to get the teacher to sign it. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Now, as a parent, you can take your phone right now, AG, go into your kids' grade book and see what grades they have right now. You don't have to wait every 9 weeks.
What assignments they ain't turned in. You can see.
Listen,
if they was
you can even set it. Listen, you can even set the parameters that if a grade lower than a C or a grade a C or lower is put in, it will send you a text message to say AG Waseem just received a C on assignment 13. So again, from a kid's perspective, 16-year-old gonna be a 16-year-old. He has some accountability. But again, as parents, you got to be a parent. You can't just take your kid word for it. Grades come out every 9 weeks. They've been coming out every 9 weeks since I've been in school. They've been coming out every 9 weeks since my mama been in school. Right. So that ain't nothing new. So if you calling in February talking about what's his grades, you're not really interested in your child being on top. So to answer your question, I implore our parents to take more interest in your child. You got to invest in your kids. You got to stay on them. You understand? High school coach going to do that, but he with them 3 hours a day, maybe 4 at most. You with them for the other 20 hours a day. So with that being said, you're the parent. You got to use the technology available. There's nowhere in the world Johnny should be walking in with an F and you surprised when you can flip open your phone and you can look at his grades every day.
Let me ask you a question. What other advice would you give the parent as far as we talked about that aspect of it, but you as a coach, and I tell parents this all the time, from the academic side, you should be on top of that regardless. That has nothing to do with whether they're playing sports or not. That should be your goal because they got to get out of the house. But you as a high school coach, I'm sure you've been through this with a parent. Someone else brought it up, D1 dreams, and someone else brought that up. You have a lot of parents that they think their kids are better than what they are. Or their kid is really good, but he doesn't have the measurables that certain schools would like. And they want, transfer kid, cuss out the coach. Because I tell parents all the time, you need to make sure you got a good relationship with your high school coach. Because I know for a fact a certain kid left, and I'll say his name, Rodney Wells. And I know for a fact he went to another school, but the kid was a great kid. And that kid, and that school asked him about him, and all Coach Wells could say was positive things. So you can't just, because like a kid can't be like, F Coach Hayes, I don't like Coach Hayes and the parents, because if they know that kid went to Coach Hayes and played there, they still going to come back and ask you about the kid. And, this is one thing I need to get them out here right now. They ask about the parents, don't they, when they come recruiting a kid?
Yes. And funny you said that. I talked about it earlier, but I was kind of held off. The parents are huge. Parents, if you listening, you got to be careful with your social media. They recruiting you too, right? Because guess what? If you on there acting crazy, you become a representative of that university as well. Because everybody is tied in together with that. The same people and fans and boosters that's following your child, I guarantee they following you too. So parents, you got to make sure that you are cautious on your social media with whatever you're doing. All right. You got to treat it just like you treat your child, or the child has to treat his social media. So to say all that, to answer your question as well, yeah, man, you got to be able to You got to handle it professionally, AG. I just don't have another way to put it. You got to handle things professionally.
You don't have an issue with a parent coming to you, asking about playing time, asking how their kid can get better. If what you're saying is, as long as they come to you in a respectful manner, you don't have any issues with that.
No, and me personally, every coach got their own thing. No, I don't have a problem with that at all. But all my practice, me personally, again, I don't get into other people's philosophy, but my practices were always open. You know what I mean? Because I want parents to come in. I don't have nothing to hide. So I want parents to come and see. So when you see Johnny in the back of the line, when you trying to get him to run these drills, and he in the back of the line, but he want to show up on Friday, or you wonder why he ain't playing on Friday, well, that's why.
Man, I'm so glad you said that, because I deal with that all the time, even on, when I was coaching youth football, even in 7-on-7. I see, I've been in 7-on-7, and come time for one-on-ones, and dudes start sliding to the back of the line.
But I tell you,
is wondering why, like we were at 7-on-7 practice Sunday, and we had an 8th grader and 9th grader taking more reps than anybody out there. So, what do you think we're going to do with that 8th grader, 9th grader? You think they're going to play?
Keep rising to the top. And my mom says, give it all you got. Hey, baby, that's what it is. Listen, I got a thing on my phone that says competition creates extinction. It's just that simple. If you don't want to compete, dog, you got to go to the back of the line. Right? And you got to compete. And I'm going to tell you something else I've done as a coach. I've invited people to come in on a Saturday film session after a game. Guess what? It's going to be blood raw for you, but you're going to get to hear what's being said about little Timmy. And you're going to get to see why little Timmy is not doing what he's supposed to do. And you're going to see why Johnny gets the opportunity that Timmy doesn't, So
I tell my son
again, that's my college, that's my coaching philosophy. So some coaches don't like that, and I understand that. That's up to them.
Man, I got one rule. Like I tell my son, I'm not going to go up here and talk to no coach on your behalf. You need to be putting it down so much that even if your coach can't stand you, he's going to put you in the game. Because that one thing about coaches, I don't know no coach that want to lose. I ain't met that coach yet. So if your son is the best player, he don't have that kind of. If he don't like your son that much, he gonna kick him off the team. But if he on that team, you can best believe you can't tell me he don't like little Johnny. No, little Johnny just ain't making no plays, because like that's what they don't understand. Like, and I tell parents that, man, because I watch them and I'm like, I've been around, and with me being I hear about all the coaches in Central Florida, and to be honest, man, we don't have a bad group of coaches in Central Florida. No, I told you that before. I think that it's a good group of guys. I think that you guys deal with a lot of unrealistic parents. I saw it with you at Olympia, and unrealistic people. Like y'all went to the playoffs and they got a problem with you. I see Coach Wells. You had 15 people transfer and he won state. I see it with Darlington. People saying about Darlington, and and he got to throw the ball, and the man is winning. Like, but he got to throw the ball because your son coming over there to be a quarterback. Like, one thing I wish the parents listen to me right now. By now, you've been here what, for 3-4 years?
2015, yeah. So this is my 4th year.
Yeah. So every coach, you should be. You know what the Village is doing. You know what Oak Ridge is doing.
You sure enough know what Apopka doing.
You know what Apopka doing. You know what Jones is doing. You know what West Orange is doing. Take your kid where you feel it could be the best beneficial for them. Don't take your kid to Apopka and then be pissed off that they're not throwing him the ball and he's a wide receiver. That's stupid. Right. Don't take, that's, I just see that. So I just wanted to kind of go over that, man. We got to get into some of these questions before we get up out of here, man.
I'm gonna say this for one. I'm gonna say this real quick. You talk about the best player for a good coach. A friend of mine that passed named Jack. He always said this: "I got favoritism for those who ball." Oh, no, you doubt. Know what I mean?
No doubt.
And I say that to this day, man. So I just want to give a shout out to Jizzle, man. Rest in peace, my brother.
Yeah, rest in peace, brother.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man. We got Cedric Baxter. What advice y'all have for parents whose kids are going to high school? So this would be the kids that in 8th grade. Said the biggest thing I could tell you, just tell your kid to work hard, keep their grades straight. You shouldn't have to go up there, talking to you. Now, don't get me wrong. If a coach, slap your kid or do something, that's unrealistic, you as a parent, you got every right to go up there and do what you got to do. But, the playing time and all that, if this is what I would tell every parent. If you have a problem with your kids' playing time, you damn sure need to go to the practice. Before you start confronting your coaches, you need to go to practice, and that way you're able to really and be honest with yourself. Take one of your friends with you. Don't take, I with my son, I got a friend that, hey man, I let him tell me what he think, because I don't even want to be biased him, because I'm the exact opposite. My son go out there and have 4 touchdowns. I'll be like, man, you should have caught 5. I'm the exact opposite. I ain't one of them, like, I don't, I don't do that. I be, but some parents, are different. What advice would you have for those parents whose kids are going to high school?
I mean, you just said it, man. You know what? It's funny. I just saw this thing on Kobe, man. Sometimes we put some of these kids that we want them to be way up here with it, and there's no reason to put them. Kobe was just talking about he didn't even remember doing certain things in 6th and 7th grade. You know what I mean? Let them go out there, have fun, and experience that. Do you want them to strive to be the best? Of course you do. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? You still want to make sure that you put the right emphasis on the right things. Academics, again, going to practice, being a good teammate, learning how to play the game of football. All that stuff will come. Being an athlete, being that top dude, that stuff will come in time. I don't know if I lost AG or not, man. He disappeared on my screen, so I don't know if this is the new Coach Hayes show. So guess what? Shameless plug. Coach Hayes Football, man. We got a YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? We talk about football. We talk about all kind of stuff, man. We talk about schemes. We talk about philosophy. We talk about offense, defense, route combination, blitz packages, whatever you want to talk about, we talk about. It's almost like having a mini clinic once a week. So I don't know if I'm talking to myself or not. I don't know if AG coming back, but man, this the critic over, man. Let me check these comments out as he be talking about. Hey, he gone. Hey, y'all, somebody leave a comment if y'all still see me on here, man.
Man, come on, man. My dog.
Hey, I done went all the way live on your AG. Hey, hold on. I still got 30 seconds. Hey, Coach Hayes Football, right? We on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Holla at your boy. We doing all type of videos, man. Check me out on YouTube, man. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers by Saturday. So help your boy out, man. If I get 100 subscribers, I get my own YouTube channel name, man. You know what I'm saying? Action. We back. Go ahead, AG.
Yeah, man. No, man. We're going to make sure you get those subscribers. That was the last thing out the cut. Man, I don't know what happened, but it kicked me off. I was like, dang.
Hey, I needed my shameless plug, dog. I needed my shameless plug.
Man, you got it in. That's all that matters. So, but no, man, we need you guys to go to FLXX Sports YouTube channel. You can see the Legends Showcase game. You'll be able to see a lot of the things that we'll be doing. FLXX Sports is going to be designed strictly for high school. About to come up with the FLXX Sports 100, which is going to be the top 100 juniors, top 100 sophomores, top 100 ninth graders, all that kind of stuff. We about to come up with all that as well. But we're going to keep this going, Coach. We know that we're going to make sure that, your YouTubes get on our channel so that, people who want to know more about football get an opportunity to know a little bit about football. So let me see what other questions we got up in here, Coach. Before we get
you let me know.
Yeah, let's see what else we got up in here.
Hey, whoever Tony Pierce, my man, I appreciate it. He just subscribed to my channel, AG. I'm loving it, baby.
Good looking out. Tony, you better be on FLXX Sports. If you ain't subscribed to that, we're going to have a problem. But anyway, let's see what other questions we got up in here, man. Boy, that doggone Cedric, man, I gotta watch him. Cedric say too many soft-ass parents being their kids' friends instead of being a parent.
Listen, hey, he said a mouthful right there. Yeah. Cedric, like I say, baby, hey, you just said a mouthful, man. And that's...
Oh, man, we had royalty join us today. Paul Knight, go to coursegpa.com. This will help as well. For those who don't know, Coach Knight is real big with Under Armour. One thing I like to say, he's my brother. I do the U.S. Army. He did Under Armour, and we ain't never had a beef because, this brother really is about those kids out there. So, hey, man, much love, Coach Knight. You're one of my favorite guys, and I'll see you on Saturday and Sunday at the Under Armour event. That's at Bishop Moore. The 6th, 7th, 8th graders are there on Saturday, and the 9th, 10th, 11th graders are there on Sunday. And y'all might get a chance to see Prime Time. Let's see.
Hey, real quick, AG, he brought up Core Course GPA. That's actually a program I used to have too in college. Listen, a lot of parents and a lot of students misunderstand what a core GPA is. They think their unweighted GPA is their core GPA. It is not. You have a weighted GPA, which includes honor courses, AP courses. Then you have an unweighted GPA that doesn't include those. Then you have a core GPA. Core GPAs are calculated totally different. So when you look on that sliding scale and it says you need to have a 1,000 on the SAT and you got to have a 2.6 core, again, that's different. So core course GPA, it was a program that I did use, and it excludes all non-core classes like physical education, a band, things like that, and it only calculates core GPAs. So that's how core GPAs are calculated. So that's a great tool to use to know where your core is, and not unweighted. A lot of kids think my unweighted is my core, and typically that's not it. Your unweighted is still going to be higher than your core.
Oh, man, I'm glad he brought it up because, we had a lot of kids this year that I know that were banking on, GPAs, and they're including PEs. And one thing that I want to tell the parents, there's no reason for your kid to be in 2 PE classes. The way the core GPA works, and Coach Hayes will tell you this as well, you got 16 credit hours to qualify for core GPA. So the more core classes that you take, they're going to take the higher of the core classes. So if you take 4 sciences, they only take the best of the 3. So if you got an A, and a C, they only consider the 3 A's. So there's no reason for you to not take as many of those as possible. I know kids that have four non-core classes, which is ridiculous. So we're going to definitely do a little bit more about that kind of stuff. I'm in the process of doing something real big with a young lady that will help parents if they want to, get their core grades and do that kind of stuff for them. Because sometimes it's not that, like those classes and core GPA are great, but some parents, they're busy out there working 2 and 3 jobs. They just need to know, hey, what can I do to get my baby there? So Douglas Moore asks, what about all this high school jumping? What's your thoughts? Man, I don't have a problem with it. At the end of the day, it's your kid. If you want to move your kid 400 times, that's what you do. But please know that college coaches do look at that. Yeah. Please know that, if your kid is jumping to 4 different schools, he better be that guy. He better be the guy that there's some guys that are like I say, 3-play guys. Then the coaches, every college coach will tell you this, they looking for the 3-play guy. Like I see these guys with these 10-minute highlight films. Man, if they can't see what they want to see in them first three plays, then you wasting your time. So what's your thoughts on that, Coach, about kids jumping out of high school?
I mean, it's funny you said. I mean, you just said it. If your kid is that guy, then you jump in school to school because he's that guy. So usually when you get kids that jump in school to school, they're running from one or two things. They're either running from competition or they're searching for a place to play because they can't compete at the school in which they are. Or again, it may be something from a personal side with coaching and so forth, but I try to stay out of that. I like kids that, that fight the fight, but at the end of the day, you still got to do what's best for your child. If you feel that your kid is not in a great situation, then at the end of the day, like you say, you only get one high school career, you got to do what you have to do. But I know some kids that have been to 5 high schools in 4 years. You know what I mean? Yeah. They've been to 5 high schools in 4 years, and guess what? Those kids, they're that talented, but it didn't pan out for them in college because guess what? They're not used to somebody telling them no.
And they're not used to compete. They're not
used to competing. They used to saying, man, he was the baddest boy at Pop Warner, so he should come in and start. You hear that a lot. So with that being said, man, I don't like it as a coach. As from a college coach, if I was recruiting, it would definitely raise a red flag for me because now it's saying one thing: is he running from something? Why is he doing all? I mean, if he's a military kid or something, that's something different. But I'm talking about you moving to 5 different schools, basically within the same neighborhood. You know, with the Olympia, Dr. Phillips, Oak Ridge.
Hey, Evans. Man, I'm going to cut you off. We got 5 minutes to get through these questions, man.
I didn't know we had. I'm just talking about that.
Yeah, we going to get through these questions.
Let's do it.
Kyle Smith say, when is a good time to start him lifting weights?
You want me to answer?
Yeah, you got it. I'm going to let you answer.
Again, I think you should start lifting weights as early as you can, but you don't always have to lift heavy. You can be smart. You know what I mean? You don't have to go in there and trying to lift the gym when you're in 7th grade. You don't have to lift every weight in there. Get with a guy that know what they're doing. Get with somebody and create a strength and conditioning plan and stick to that. You don't have to lift 225 in the 6th grade.
All right, strength and conditioning. Let's give shout outs, even though, maybe they'll be our sponsors. You got Boris Jackson, Speed Plus. You got Mike Loxley. I know that does
Total Body Fitness is Mike Lockley.
Total Body Sports, baby. Total Body Sports.
Total Body Sports. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then let me think who else out there. Oh, TA. TA do a real good job with them kids as well. So so I just want to make sure. Let's see what other questions we got on here, man. What advice you give on high school selection? That's a fair question. Tay Lewis asked, Tay, in my opinion, you need to go look at the schools, see what they're doing. You should know what your child does best. If your child is a 3-4 linebacker, then you might not want to send him to a 4-3 school. You should be able to know what he does best. And like I said, I use Apopka as everyone knows Apopka always historically has run the ball. If your son's a receiver, you'd be crazy to take him there. So you gotta, ask yourself those kind of questions. What's your thoughts, Coach?
I mean, same thing, man. You got to do your research as a parent. You got to do your due diligence on the coach. You got to I always tell people, have a conversation. Nothing wrong with just having a conversation with the coach. If you like what he says, go for it. If you don't like it, then spread your wings.
Man, this dude Balin talking about I don't know if you're talking about you or me, but he said you got to get your Twitter followers up. Hey, man.
He talking about me. Listen, dog, my Twitter followers so stink. I got about 3, dog. I just started about a week ago. You know what I mean? At Coach Hayes Football. So he talking about me. I'm going to take that one. Hey, right there on the chin. I'm going to take it. No question.
All right. Hey, Said Baxter asked what the YouTube channel. We got FLXX Sports over here. And Coach, tell them yours.
All you got to do is go on YouTube and search Coach Hayes Football. I'm going to come up. You'll see me. I'm come up like this. You'll see this logo right here. Man, Coach Hayes Football.
Man, they don't want to worry about your little logo.
You like that. You like that.
Natasha, I'm going to film all them up in there, man. Man, this dude, Allen, he gonna tag everybody. He going to pin everybody on there talking about Coach Hayes, FLXX Sports, and he going to put R&R Sports Media, his little thing. Man, we got to do something about this dude.
But I saw that, man.
Yeah, my boy Paul, he said, appreciate it. Yeah, I'm going to see my boy Paul on Saturday. That's my guy. Is it good for my son to train with a pro trainer? That's what Eric Guest, one of my homeboys from San Antonio, asked. I think it's excellent, personally. Those guys know what it takes, and because one thing that I do know, there's a lot of parents taking their kids to people who don't know nothing about training, and just because you making them tired don't mean you train them. I saw someone. Parents, oh man, they tired. Hell yeah, they tired. They done ran 7 miles, but that don't mean they was training.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you always need to get the opportunity. Go ahead.
Listen, you got to do your due again as a parent. AJ, you said it best. I ain't gonna waste all my time. No, you just said it best. You got to do your due diligence. Make sure you see what it is that these trainers do, what they offer, and the results they get. If they ain't got no results, they ain't got no business. And don't break the bank trying to do that, guys. Their bodies are young. Trust me, they'll fill out. You ain't got to take out so they can go to a train.
Yeah, and then Balin just asked, what do you think about players committing to programs just because of their names or to get followers like retweets on Twitter, especially when they don't even know where the school is located and what system they run? Shouldn't they go where they fit and can play, or they will just wind up in the transfer portal?
You said it best, man. It's a microwave generation. 30 seconds, everybody want to be done. These kids, again, they do stuff for likes. That's why they get in more trouble on social media, because I want somebody to double tap my picture and put a thumb up. Guys, again, the logo is not loyal to you. You understand? Use the university. Let the university use you. Make it a great marriage. You know what I mean?
Hey, Coach Sapp say 14 is the best way to lift weights. I definitely, agree with. I'm not going to, like for me, my son probably won't lift them weights till probably like 10th grade. But, I like guys who, do make them do push-ups, do core strength and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, appreciate that, Coach Sapp. Let's see. Jacqueline asks, do you tell colleges about injury surgeries or do you hold that to yourself? That's a good question.
Great question. The funny thing about it, you can tell them, especially if it's a major injury, you have major surgery, but you know what, Jacqueline, to be honest with you, when you get there, guess what? They're going to have a full scan of your child. They're going to know from you. That's the first thing they do before they even get their room. They come in there, drop trousers, and they're going to check everything from mouth to toes.
But now, man, and we got like probably 1 minute. But to answer her question, brother, you know, nowadays they do all that, and because of the suits, they're gonna go check them to make sure they don't have any heart conditions. They're gonna check them to make sure that they, you know, don't have any type of issues. ACLs, if you had an ACL jacket, they go already. You know, there's no way you can hide an ACL through your high school days. But man, I don't have anything else to say. Is there anything you want to talk to the parents about? Well, you got like 30 seconds.
No, man. Hey, parents, again, just stay with your kid. Don't let them go. Just because they 6'5" doesn't mean they're a grown man. Stay with them. Stay with them through this process. Don't shun them off just because he's 6'5" and eating everything in the refrigerator. Make sure you stay with them to the end. The same way you support them at the game, support them off the field too.
All right, man. Well, hey, man, we appreciate everybody. Thank y'all so much for checking us out. This is our FLXX Sports Recruiting 101. We'll have something every week. And make sure you go check out Coach Hayes on YouTube, Coach Hayes Football on YouTube. And make sure that you tell your friends about FLXX Sports, because we're going to be providing things about recruiting and different topics all the time. Peace
and a shout out to Baylor, man. I got to get my followers up at Coach Hayes Football, man. We'll holler at you. AG, I appreciate it, man. Thank you, man.
For sure, man. I appreciate you. Peace.
All right. I'm going to let you cut it off. I'm looking like a rookie right now. K, we still alive. Hey, K, we still alive.
Yeah, man, I'm trying to cut it off, man. You know, hey, K.